Welcome to Go Home Heat, a wrestling podcast, sports entertainment podcast. Me,
yes.
KP, Justin, here, ready to talk sports entertainment for the week, Raw and SmackDown. Here we go. We start Raw out hot with Randy Orton.
Randall,
if
you know him well,
gives a promo about how he deserves a shot at the title at the Clash, but it's going to wind up being some form of a tournament. The amazing Keith Lee comes out. He gives a little bit of a promo here too, and then Dolph jumps him and gets the DDT spot as we go to commercial, I believe, before we get this match. Basically what's going to happen, Rey Mysterio is injured, so Seth will fight Dominic. KO will fight, Kevin Owens will fight Randy Orton. Keith Lee will fight Dolph Ziggler. The winners will be in a triple threat match at the end of the evening. The winner of that gets Drew McIntyre, in theory, at Clash of Champions, if he can recover from the bleeding on the brain, which he currently has.
Yes.
Kayfabe bleeding on the brain, we hope.
The only thing I didn't like about this is I knew exactly who was going to be in the triple threat as soon as they announced the matches.
Okay, I think where you're going to is I knew that we were, and we'll just, since you're watching this, you're going to listen anyway, but we all knew this turns into Keith Lee, Randy Orton,
Seth Rollins.
And we all know that Randy is getting a rematch at the Clash. Keith can't get that, and we don't even know if Seth's going to be around. He's got a baby coming sometime soon and all that. And either way, Seth's not getting another title shot right now.
No.
He's doing too good a job at filling out your card.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And Randy is getting that shot.
Yeah.
Because Keith, we go through this later in a different, in the SmackDown episode, is you can't stick Keith in a match that he has to get squashed in.
Yes.
Right now. And that's does his character no good at all. So the point of this episode is not Randy Orton gets, and it can be frustrating because, okay, the first 2 minutes of the show, we know the result of the last thing.
Yeah. That's how I get there, though.
The point has to be the journey, right?
Yeah, that's how I get there.
And the point has to be Keith has to be emphasized as formidable. The whole point of this is not the heavyweight championship match.
No.
The point of this is Keith Lee's build as the formidable man. That's the story we're telling over the next few months. And that's the interesting thing about this, right? To me, but this match, again,
Dolph Ziggler is great, dude.
Dolph does a great job of selling the pounces and just making the match look like Dolph is extremely good at wrestling in matches you know he's going to lose and yet still being
relevant
and fun to watch.
Yes.
And he does this here, and he does lose. I in my notes here I said that Ziggler should feud with all new talent.
Yes.
You know, just sometimes beat him, sometimes lose to him, but he should at this point become the guy that every time a new guy comes on the show, he walks out and goes, "I hate new people," and match, you know.
and he can make anybody look like a superstar.
Right. We're on the heels of a pay-per-view here, and Shayna and Nia Jax, the newly crowned women's tag team champions, come out, and Adrian, they do a little bit of talking, and they both say, I won the match by myself, which is untrue because we all know Shayna won the match by herself.
Yes.
In a fantastic match at the pay-per-view.
One of the coolest finishes I've ever seen.
A double submission she puts on the two champions.
Yeah, and using the one Sasha's arm to choke out Bayley. That's next level.
It was wonderful. Now, then Asuka comes over, and they kind of... Interesting that when Asuka pushes Shayna out of the way, even though the tag team champs don't like each other, Nia steps between them.
Yeah.
And hovers over her right there.
Yeah.
Which was an interesting little... Either way, this is still my partner over here.
Yeah.
Adam Pearce says, there will be no retribution tonight. Okay. Mickie James wants...
I care for what reason.
Mickie James wants a shot at Asuka. You wind up with Asuka in the ring, and no one's ready for Asuka, and then Mickie James wants a shot at Asuka, and then Lana and Natalya come out and interrupt. And they say they're the trendsetters, by golly. And Natty is next in line. And somehow this turns into, well, Asuka and Nikki clear the ring. And then eventually I think this turns into Lana versus Mickie James in a wrestling match.
Yeah, that happened.
Which was what I was... When I woke up that day, I said, I hope Lana's wrestling Mickie James in a match. And this is way better than that little thing I said made it seem like. Lana did pretty good here. Chick kick ends it. Asuka's on commentary. I love Asuka on commentary, always. And Mickie gets to stare down at Asuka when it's over. So we're assuming that... I almost assumed they went out there and signed Mickie James just to give her a quick run and let her lose to Asuka, which is I'm fine with.
I'm fine with.
Mickey's okay with making that quick money.
Yeah, and Mickey's great. Should be a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely. And you still have some...
Go back and watch Mickie James. Mickie James is right there with Lita and Trish Stratus in that group of first female wrestlers I really saw in that era turning the women's division from bra and panties matches to wrestling matches.
And to piggyback on that, that was when we started to get actual storytelling.
Yes.
In the ring and outside of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mickie being the
crazy stalker
of Trish and all that. And then Mickie goes on to have really great, to become a very good pro wrestler in
oh my God,
total nonstop action wrestling, which became Impact Wrestling. She winds up being very, very good before it's all said and done, and has come back and done wonderful stuff in this company as well. The Viking Raiders and Cedric are with random famous girl backstage again. All that happened. Randall is in Aleister Black's locker room, but backstage, he comes out. We think we're going to get an Aleister Black interview, which of course we do not. We don't get an interview with Randall either. And will he jump Kevin Owens?
Yeah, everybody was pretty sure.
He also owes Seth one as well because he lost his eye. So there's the thing. We don't know. Yeah. Iconics do not want to break up. They have been best friends since high school in the Outback. What a journey for them.
Yes.
High school in the Outback to WWE television. Wow.
Yes.
Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton. We got our answer quickly. Aleister Black attacks, knocks out Owens, hands him over to Orton.
And then does a little flourish bow on the outside if you watch him. He does the little bow to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it was hilarious.
Yeah, well done. RKO. Well, Kevin Owens is out of the mix there. And I'm assuming we're going into a Kevin Owens, Aleister Black feud, which I will take.
I will like that, even though I think it's a complete feud that they were not. The only reason KO was not feuding with Seth was that Ray signed a contract to stay in, and they changed the plan, so they didn't have nothing for Kevin to do. Aleister was shoehorned into the whole Rey Mysterio, Seth Rollins thing, and then when his part was done, he had nothing really to do, so they kind of cramped, it's like, oh, I got this left over, I got this left, let's put it together. But it's like, that's a much better match than just about anything you're going to see on the show, and it's just random.
Well, and they had the opportunity to tell a story there that important, because they'll get TV time because of who they are, and Kevin, he doesn't do bad programs.
No, Aleister as the heel, I think has a lot of,
Yeah, I remember Seth said about the WrestleMania stuff he did with Kevin Owens. They asked him what he thought about it, and he says, "Well, we were an afterthought, but I feel like we did a lot with what they allowed us to do." Seth's Monday Night Messiah persona in the loss came out of it even bigger, and Kevin Owens got that marquee moment when he jumps off the thing and he gets his first win there, and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So
it was,
So
great storytelling.
But also, they were an afterthought. But they just said, "Oh, well, you give me 7 minutes today, you're going to want to give me 12 tomorrow. You give me 12 tomorrow, you're going to wind up giving me 20." You know what I mean? And that's the same thing Aleister and Kevin can do to him.
Yeah.
As long as they just knuckle in. The Mysterio family is backstage. Angie and the daughter.
They just keep multiplying, Kevin.
They do. But now, all of them need to be here for this. Ray's hurt. I think he hurt his bicep maybe.
Yeah, her torn bicep.
Yeah. And he is happy that Dom gets to take his place. He would want no one else
to get kicked in the head or stomped by.
There's a 619 with Monday Night Messiah written all over it, waiting to happen. Dom's going to need to work on the promos.
Yeah. I was going to say he would benefit from a manager,
Right, which is probably Ray.
Well, I watched him. If you watch when the shot comes in, he's just kind of standing there with his arms down. And Ray knows how to, I think knowing what to do with your arms when you're standing there in a shot sometimes is kind of like, oh, what do I do? And you can see him kind of look over at Ray, and then all of a sudden he does the hands like peek together in front of him thing. He's learning on the job.
Right, absolutely. They announced that the advertised underground matchup will be Shelton Benjamin versus Apollo Crews. The MVP Lounge is next, and the Hurt Business is in the ring. Cedric comes out to what we think is going to be some form of a promo argument, but turns into the Viking Raiders jumping the fellas from behind, and we get a 6-man tag match where MVP Lashley, Sheldon versus Eric, Ivar, and Cedric. Pretty good little back and forth here. Cedric it's more of a storytelling thing though, because Cedric winds up catching MVP in a roll-up with the tights, as you mentioned, off air, so he did a little bit of the hornswoggling there. MVP kind of laughs. He seems sort of impressed with how he got rolled up and lost that match. And Titus O'Neil's going to be in the underground, and then MVP catches Cedric backstage, and he wasn't too impressed to put the back alley beat down on him.
Well, yeah, there's, you still got to pay your receipts, man.
Mm-hmm. That's right. The Iconics.
And where was his two buddies again?
They're breaking up. They're breaking up, slowly but surely. The Iconics versus the Riot Squad.
Excuse me.
Oh, I thought you were laughing. When the title shot, if you win, you get a title shot. If you lose, you will be breaking up. That is the stip. It is a good little match. I thought it was. They've had many of these now, but some form of these guys wrestling each other, and they're getting to be pretty good together. Billy Kay and Ruby roll into a couple of pinning predicaments.
That was a good little sequence.
Yes, and then Billy Kay winds up actually getting pinned. So now the Iconics, who have always been a tag team, the first, I think, just tag team in this division, maybe the reason for the division, is now broken up over what is rumored to be Peyton Royce when she went away and came back, or when everything they weren't using her. She learned a couple of better moves, and she has gotten to where she's wrestling really well.
Yes, definitely.
And that is great, and it looks like she's going to get some form of a solo push. It makes sense, but also it also shows you why they would go sign a Nikki. Not a Nikki. Mickey.
Mickey, yeah.
Mickey to Mickey James, in order to kind of give them time to develop a little bit more talent in this division.
Well, and the only point of this too, though, is they're going to need to develop some tag teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
You split 2 in this week,
Yeah. Absolutely.
Out of a division where you're having to wrestle in 3 shows anyway, because you don't have enough tag teams to.
Yeah, and I absolutely think they could utilize this better with getting heels over. Like, for example, if just fantasy booking, if Dakota drops out of the title picture and her partner drops out of the title picture, how good is Gonzalez Dakota in a tag team division?
Oh, they're great. They're that classic, Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash tag team.
Right. Seth and Roman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got the heater, you got the person that takes all the bumps.
Yeah.
That also is willing to cheat.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so anyway, so they break up, though. And then we wind up at the front door of
the Underground.
And the huge bouncer. And I kind of feel like Shane is really likes that big bouncer guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's almost like I feel like he loves that dude.
I think they hang out together.
Yeah, yeah. I hope they do.
I hope they do. I hope they have adventures.
Yes. With that dude just kind of standing there making sure Shane doesn't get himself
He's
into
killed.
trouble.
Yeah.
Yes. Where are we going?
Belize.
Yes, yes.
Decided I need emeralds right now. What?
Let's go. Okay, Seth promo is more about chewing out Murphy for his performance at Payback. He kicks Murphy out. Dom jumps Murphy from behind on the way out.
Murphy has a bad day.
Mm-hmm. He does. Then he attacks Seth, and we have a match, and it is Seth and Dominic. And again, Dominic is looking great, and everybody is really pointing out how great Dominic looks and what a natural he is. And I just can't help but think maybe being in the ring with Seth Rollins matters here.
Helps a lot. Well, I said earlier, man, Seth Rollins and the bookers, whoever's booking these matches, do a real good job of hiding the fact that he's only got about 5 or 6 wrestling moves.
Right.
You know, he can jump off things. He does that well. He can do the 619. He can do that arm drag.
Right.
You know.
Right.
He can do that couple variants off of an arm drag. He can do the drop toe hold. He can do the frog splash. But the frog splash, again, is I'm jumping off of something. It's not really like I have to work with another guy.
Right.
You
It
know?
almost looks too like the matches have been talked through into segments.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like every now and then you can kind of see, okay, this is where Seth gives him a second, says something to him, and like almost like we're moving to B.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they go into the next part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's really, but again, it's fantastic.
Oh, it's making that kid look great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, let me ask you a question here. Here's all right, Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
Seth's got to go away at some point. Do they turn Murphy on him, and do we make Murphy a good guy? Or, here's a weird possibility. Aleister Black and him had such great matches. Maybe he hooks up with Black and their heels and they're a tag team.
That would do wonders for the tag team division.
Yes.
And it's actually great. It is actually great. If Aleister were to, I would wait on that. Because
Well, you got to get through
Seth's not injured.
No.
Seth's
You got to
going
get through
for
the whole Kevin Owens thing with Black first, anyway.
Right.
Before
right.
you, and you need to. Murphy doesn't need to just quit automatically.
No.
But when you decide Seth's time to go out,
right.
Murphy can turn on him.
Seth could be gone for 2 weeks, could be gone for 3, but he's not going to be gone for like 6 months or 2 months, you know. So what you could do is, you know, when Seth comes back, he comes back with Murph. He jumps immediately in the program with Aleister, and then Murph turns on Seth with Aleister.
Yeah.
You know, and then that's the story you wind up telling. You know, that's good. That's good thinking on your part for sure. Titus looks good in the underground until he runs into Riddick Moss.
Really? He looked good? Did he now?
He's not a natural fighter.
No. He's a natural big guy. He's a natural athlete.
Yeah.
But his punches are terrible.
Yeah. Riddick Moss kicks him in the dingling, then knocks him out of the ring with a straight right.
Yeah. That right looked good.
Yeah.
I give him that one.
Street Profits Scouting Report is a joke form of a segment there. Too short for the roller coasters. Tornado Tag Team next. Profits versus Andrade and Garza. Akira Truth in a parking lot exchange of a 24/7 title. Riveting
stuff. Were there ninjas involved, Kevin?
They're sorta.
Sorta.
They were in the car.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the ninjas was a ref. So, okay.
Ninja Ref. It's a new show from the CW.
Back to the match they have.
There was a match?
Yes. And then Retribution attacks and kind of messes up the match. Famous Girl runs away with Angel Garza from the match. Flees, leaving Andrade stranded.
And Selena. And Selena I liked Selena, man. She's like, she looked around. It's like 3-on-1. She's like begged off for first, and then all of a sudden she's like, all right, if we got to do this, we're going to do this. And she just came out swinging.
Yeah.
There's another thing you could do. If they're going to break up Garza Andrade or something along those lines, maybe you hook Selena up with her real-life husband, Aleister Black.
That would be interesting, too.
Yeah.
Or all 3 of them.
All 3 of them, man. Andrade because Andrade's first Alistair and Andrade's first match. Man, that's a great one too.
Dude, that NXT match they had was like match of the year.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
Yeah, it was.
Wow. I was at that takeover.
They got so much history together. That's another.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, complaints about 50-50. Wow, that was close. 50-50 booking matches are strange when only one team wins, and no matches are ever clean. That was my writing down about this
feud.
Street Profits, Angel Garza and them. It's not 50-50 booking. Angel Garza and them never win.
No.
Never. And they wrestle them in 20 different ways, and they never win.
I think they won the singles matches after they drugged them maybe once.
Right. He passed out in the ring.
Passed out. They've never beat them like halfway clean or nothing.
Yeah. Now we wind up down in the underground where Shayna's girls wreak havoc. What's the thin one's name?
Jasmine Duke.
Yes. She looked good in there.
Her strikes are next level when you compare them to man, go watch Titus throw a punch. Go watch that girl throw a punch, and you'll see the difference. She's got that lanky striker build. Yeah. Man, she's a monster, dude. Yeah.
And then somebody winds up challenging her friend who was in a skirt, and she put the whooping on the girl.
Yeah, in a skirt.
Yeah,
it's like I don't need to get dressed up for this. I don't need fighting clothes. I'm wearing them.
You don't gotta get ready when you stay ready. Right?
No, she had like a sun hat on too. It was like she came out from gardening or something to beat somebody's brains out. Yeah. Come on, man. They're awesome, and they need. I've been waiting for them to get some screen time.
This is the perfect avenue to build them as personalities and stars.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, and they could be a tag team.
Oh, dude, yeah,
they should be a tag team.
Yes, they definitely need that. The tall one has some great crazy eyes, man. She looks like she would stab you, for any reason.
Interesting that you went there first, but good. Peyton pushes her ex-partner into the ring to get beat up by these two.
Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
So, I don't know that they're going to be friends anymore.
No.
Apollo and...
This was not... Here's my thing. Why would you ever think that Apollo Crews has a chance against a world-class, top-notch NCAA wrestler in a...
MMA-style fight?
Yeah.
Right. He was just mad. And so he winds up going in there with his buddies, and it doesn't go well for them.
No, it doesn't go well for them. It never speaking of people, it never goes well for. They don't ever get nothing, man, but beatings.
Yeah. Sheldon mobbed that dude. He looks so good. And
Sheldon
looks great in this environment.
Of course he does. Him and Dolph Ziggler, man. You've got some
real wrestlers, yeah.
Real wrestlers. Bobby Lashley's a real wrestler.
They should let Shorty G come over one night.
Oh, dude.
Why wouldn't he be able to? It's not a part of Raw, supposedly. It's underground.
Yeah.
So why can't he
bring him in as a special... Yeah, dude. That dude can wreck somebody.
Just wreck... Yeah.
He'll wreck old Babatunde, whatever his name is.
Right.
They wouldn't let him do that, but it'd be hilarious.
It did. This was... I like this segment, though. Ricochet winds up getting choked out. Apollo gets choked out. Cedric's in the fetal position when they cut the commercial. It was...
Oh, yeah.
Well done.
Hurt business, baby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, Keith Lee, Seth Rollins, and Randy Orton are in a triple threat match. Keith Lee Randy and Seth did this so well to make sure
Keith was protected.
Keith was the hero.
Yes.
And when he took a one-stride pounce on Seth, and Seth did a whole helicopter spin.
Oh, dude. Come on, man. When he ate the spirit bomb, he Shawn Michaels that one.
Dude, he did. He somehow not only did he do a headstand, he managed to get like his arm was half extended.
Yes.
He covered from elbow on the mat to feet, probably 6'3" in the air, and he's probably not 6 foot.
No.
But
it's ridiculous. It looks so good.
Yeah, and that's the setup because Keith hits that on
Seth.
Seth thinks, and Seth is going to sell that bomb 1,000,000 times in his career. He may never actually get to hit the stomp on him, or if he does, he may actually win a title on him somewhere down the road.
Yeah,
hitting one stomp on him, right? But he goes for the stomp. Keith catches him, spirit bombs him. That's going to happen over and over and over again because Keith is so young and Seth's kind of on his way to the I'm training guys to be good part of his career.
Yes.
And it was great. It was so good the way they did that. And then, of course, he turns right into an RKO. He doesn't lose any heat.
And Randy doesn't pin him.
No. Perfect. You're right. Say it. Tell him how that works.
Randy looks at him, thinks the better of it, and goes for Seth, who's just eating the spirit bomb.
Acknowledging
both his power and going, I don't think one RKO is enough for me to get a pin on you.
Right. I don't know, or at the very least, I didn't get him clean there because he wasn't hurt already. You know what I mean? But either way, it was what I just did. The best finisher in pro wrestling probably doesn't pin him right here.
Yeah.
But what his finisher is, I got plenty of time to go cover Seth.
Yes.
Because there's no way he's getting up from
No,
that.
he's done.
Right. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done. You liked the episode?
I did. Like you said, it didn't matter that I knew the result as much because I liked the way they got there, and it used it as a vehicle to advance several plot lines. Mm-hmm. You advance the Dominic as wrestler plot line, Aleister Black versus Kevin Owens.
Some form of discontent with Murphy.
Yes.
Randy's getting back into where he should be. Keith is a monster.
Yeah, all these plot lines got advanced.
Even the Royce thing is interesting. Mm-hmm. Ruby and Liv's turmoil turns into them getting to fight the champs.
Yeah.
It was a well done episode. SmackDown is next. Roman, no cargos, no boots, no vest.
No, just a t-shirt.
Just t-shirt, sweats. Look like some Nike Frees or some Jordans. Well done. Improvement on the... Dude, you can only wear one outfit for so long.
Yeah.
Then you got to change it up.
You got to change it up.
Yeah.
Especially if you're changing characters.
Absolutely. And it harkened to the similarities of Paul Heyman being a manager and Brock always wearing his sweats and all that.
And just the whole just stand there and stare at the camera thing, too.
Right. That's where we're getting to. Heyman, Roman, in the ring, by themselves. Heyman, tour de force.
Oh, dude.
Promo. He does the Godfather Al Pacino quote. Just when I thought it was out, they pulled me back in. Except he says, if you think I recruited Roman, you're wrong. Roman recruited me.
He saved me.
I was out.
He corrupted me.
They cast me away and brought me to the island. He's bringing me back to the island of relevancy. Because that's what you guys did to him as well. All he needed was some time off, and you took his title.
Yeah.
You know, there was things going on, life-threatening.
Yeah.
And you still just took his title. He didn't deserve... All of this is obviously really amended revisionist history, which it should be. That's what we're doing.
It's from Roman's point of view.
Correct. And it's perfectly done. He does He lets you know that the Fiend is a terrible WWE champion to have because Fiends are Fiends. They
do fiendish things.
They're not what this company is built on. You don't want a monster being a champion. You put him on Fox News, the biggest star in your company, and he growls when you try to...
I was dying, dude.
Great choice he follows that up with.
Yeah.
He uses... I want to give him a little credit for being on Fox and pumping up Fox News and then turning and saying Anderson Cooper's name with such disdain.
Yes.
He says Anderson Cooper...
and Melina's latest
boyfriend can let you know who the next...
Who these people are that don't even deserve to be in the same ring with Roman.
Correct. I thought that was a nice little shot across the bow for what he's doing.
He's so good, dude.
And you had...
I was worried when he let Roman talk. I'm not gonna lie to you.
But Roman was great.
He was. That was best he's done. I don't know how long.
And that's where you start to see the difference between Paul, the Brock Lesnar character,
yes,
and what we're getting here with Roman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so this is really well done presentation. We're getting everything. He does mention that Roman is family, he's legacy, He's
all the things
exactly what you told us you wanted in a WWE champion.
Yeah.
And yet
You threw him to the curb.
Right.
As soon as it was convenient.
Fans as well.
Yeah.
You never were willing to buy in on this guy who's everything we've ever said we wanted.
Yeah. Well, that's Paul Heyman for you, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to come out there and he can sell you anything.
He can set the table.
Yeah. The thing that makes him such a great promo dude and great at this stuff is probably also the thing that makes everybody in the back end up hating him. Because he's going to tell you a story, man. And you hear it from everybody who's worked in ECW with him. You heard it from everybody who's ever worked with him, man. You're going to get the Paul Heyman version of events when he talks to you. And it's, you better get, that's not as much of a character as you think it is on the screen.
No. And the fact that you hate his character on screen is perfect.
Uh-huh.
It may not be perfect to have a revisionist history person walking around backstage doing the booking.
No, listen to the FTR interview. Listen to what's his name came out this week? Big Red Beard, Mr. Brody Lee's partner, Rowan. Rowan was saying, I was asking him if my job was good. I felt bad about the spider thing. I couldn't make it work. I'm like, dude, how do you feel bad about not making that work?
It was terrible.
There was nothing you could do to make that work.
Dude, the Good Brothers.
Oh, man, they straight up.
They bury him every chance to get.
Well, and AJ Styles called him out, too, and said,
Oh, yeah.
I may believe the earth is flat, but I know Paul Heyman's a liar.
Right. Okay.
I may doubt that the sun rises in the east, but I don't doubt that Paul Heyman will lie to my face.
Right. And then we get Heavy Machinery versus Miz and Morrison. This was great. It was well done. I'm sorry. First, they walk to the ring and then they cut away, and when they come back, Roman passes Jey Uso in the back, and Jey first congratulates him. Second,
congratulates him on getting the same teeth work.
Roman.
Oh no, they didn't do that.
Roman dismisses Paul.
Yeah. To
allow him to speak to his cousin, which I thought was interesting.
Oh yeah, and Paul selling it, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes sir, Mr. Brain, sir.
Yes sir. And then Roman was kind of cool to Jay's face in a way. But then
very condescending.
Jey sells the change by saying, you never called me. Okay, that's cool. And then Roman says, yeah, hit me up later. And he says, maybe we eat a steak after.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, and then Roman doesn't even turn around. And he goes, oh, no? Okay. And so you know that, okay, Jey knows it's different.
Yeah.
And Jay's his cuz. Okay. And so then we get the match between Otis Tuck, Miz, and Morrison. And these guys work really well together. You wind up with a pretty good little match, which winds up with the classic at this point, Caterpillar
elbow drop
into the Vader bomb finish, which is just, who knew those going together?
Yeah, I love it. Wish he would not. I wish man would. I don't know.
Morrison does not help the Miz kick out because he's busy stealing the briefcase, which will come into play later.
Yes. I'd like to point out that for some reason they felt Keith Lee didn't look good without a shirt on. And now they've got him wearing that stupid top that he's wearing. Mm-hmm. He's gotten his outfit back as close as he could, I think.
Yeah.
A lot. But for some reason they don't think Otis looks horrifying.
In a sports bra.
In a sports bra, basically. Mm-hmm. And panties.
I'm guessing it's because Otis's role a lot of the matches is to rub his belly and gyrate.
Yes.
And they want Keith to be taken seriously. I'm not saying that is okay.
Yeah.
I'm saying the only thing I can come up with.
Makes sense.
Right. Now, Sheamus winds up suckering Big E, who is planning on throwing his buddy Xavier Woods
a birthday party,
and
Sheamus ruined a perfectly good cake.
Sheamus sends the security guard in to lie to Big E. Big E comes out to see his friend, gets jumped, gets beat up, gets put through the window, does the white noise finish on the Hyundai.
Mm-hmm.
And Big E gets carted out in an ambulance, and we no longer have a fatal 4-way until later when Adam Pearce will say that he's found a replacement, and we'll get into that later. So we will still get the fatal 4-way, and we'll get into that a little bit later. What did you think about this?
I thought it was fine. I thought it was, again, I thought it was smart booking. Mm-hmm. Big E does not need to be in that fatal 4-way because he's not going to win it, so it's not a help for him. You get him out of that match without him having to eat a pin or lose a match, because it's too early for him to go into a program with Roman Reigns, because he's got, like you were saying earlier, Roman Reigns has got smash somebody at this first. This has got to be a definitive statement, and Big E doesn't need that, just like Keith Lee doesn't need to be put in there with, and get smashed.
This is perfect.
Yeah.
Because what you can't have is a guy that the fans want in the main event picture going into a main event immediately and getting blown away by Roman.
Mm-hmm.
Because then he has to go right back down the card. And that's kind of one of the things they made the mistakes. If you want to defend Cena's reigns, one of the things that happened with him was they would just thrust somebody in the main event picture, and he would lose and drop way back down the card. Whereas if you built him slowly and he loses, then he has enough. Then that competitor that lost in the main event, you followed that guy over a month or two.
Yeah.
And so he can go into other programs and start to tell these stories himself.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Whereas with Cena, they lose and they go down the card, and then you're not invested in that character anyway. It was a flash in the pan to get there and get his shot. And,
yeah.
Whereas
if he had some gravitas because he'd already been the United States champion, or he'd won a feud or two and he'd built himself up.
Yeah.
Then you've got, when he loses, he hasn't lost everything. He's only lost a match.
And if this Big E thing takes till maybe Mania next year, then maybe you actually do get to give him the belt.
Which is the way it should. I like Big E, and I want him to be successful. So I want them to build him in a slow, steady, give him the successes. Let him get in a program with Sheamus and beat him.
Right.
Let him get in a program
with
Corbin and beat him.
Right.
Let him get those things where you start associating him with winning.
Right.
And you start associating him with overcoming things.
Right.
So that when it gets to that point, whether he's set up to win or lose his first championship shot, you can still be invested in the character afterwards. He doesn't fall, like you're saying, fall right down the...
Right, absolutely. Now, Michael Cole says we are going to have the greatest tag match in the history of this show coming up, and that is usually a horrible omen. But
yes,
Sasha Bayley versus Nia Shayna. They've told this story. They have a backstage promo, and Sasha really lays it on thick about
how great Bayley is
and how great a friend she is, and you can just see the Sasha heel turn coming.
Yes.
And it's been building over time, and it's boss time, and they get into a match. First big spot is Bayley and Sasha get grabbed and used as they use them as ragdolls, slamming them off
like
the
tether
barricades.
balls.
Yeah, it's so good. They look like tether balls, right?
Well, and again, I'll point out that just like in the match the other day where Nia Jax did that spot with Sasha on the pay-per-view, I got to give credit to Nia because I will immediately burn her if she hurts somebody. So I better give her credit when she does it right. She barely moves her top. Sasha's throwing herself into that stuff and doing all the work. So it's so much safer, and it looks good. Yes. But she didn't hurt anybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the fact that Shayna can even do that spot with a person that's almost the same size as her is pretty impressive.
She's freakishly strong, dude.
Right. This match is amazing. I mean, Sasha's performance was better than 5 stars, and Nia gets to tell the story of how big and strong she is for a little while. Shayna sold like a champ in this scenario, and also got to be the person who picks apart a body part. Once Sasha gets, Bayley does great. Actually, Bayley and Shayna have a great little back and forth.
Yes,
and then,
they do.
And then Nia gets tagged in, and Sasha gets tagged in, and Sasha does a little routine there where you can see
like a minute of damage.
Right. She's on the outside of the ring apron. She goes knee to the head, kick to the head. Nia spins away from that kick to the head and gets kicked in the back of the head. Then Sasha does 2 knees to the chest and head, and then she does the thing where she jumps onto him and lands on his shoulders in
Meteora.
Meteora pinning predicament, right?
Yeah.
All that happens in a minute, and you start to see, okay, now she's got a chance to win this thing. Nia gets to where she stumbles across the ring. Sasha tries to power bomb her, which is physically impossible, from the outside of the ring to the floor as Nia's on the ring apron. But Bayley comes running across the ring, who's actually the legal person here because she had tagged Sasha after all that stuff. And she does a yank down, which allows for
the rebound effect.
Rebound effect because Nia's in and out of the ring.
Yeah.
Which allows for an actual power bomb onto the ground, onto the concrete outside of the ring. Beautiful spot.
Yes.
Nia's injured. Bayley and Shayna, who are the 2 legal people, now get into it in the ring. That turns into Sasha getting a tag after Shayna is in trouble, which turns into Sasha messing up and hitting her knee. And
on the ring post.
Right. And then you have Shayna go body part.
Yeah.
And brutalize that leg.
Yeah.
And then you have a tag in. I can't remember exactly how this winds up going, but Nia winds up ripping Bayley off the ring apron
and getting her out of the way for a little bit. Then
yes,
they get Shayna in the ring. Somehow Shayna, I can't remember exactly the sequence of events, but Shayna.
Nia runs back around.
Is up stuck in the corner. They kick her up in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Or do something to make her sit there, and then they jump Shayna for a second. They drop her on her back. She rolls out, and then Nia turns around off the second rope and hits them both with a flying crossbody.
Right. After Nia drops Bayley, she goes back to the corner, gets tagged in. Then she gets in a predicament on top rope. Shayna runs into hell.
Yeah.
They both do a double slam, some form of a slam onto Shayna, which they tried to do earlier and Shayna got out of.
Yeah.
But that leaves them open for a flying crossbody from
Sasha's knee kind of went out there is what they kind of said too.
Right. And Nia squashes her.
Yeah.
Both of them. 1, 2, 3 cover. So now they have both pinned both of the other competitors or finished both the other competitors.
At the same time to win separate matches. Yeah.
Wonderful match.
Yeah.
Good as you can do it, whether you're a male wrestling tag team.
Mm-hmm. The story, yeah.
Absolutely as good as a wrestling match as you can have.
Shayna Baszler, Sasha Banks, Nia looked better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But those two and Bayley, but Bayley's spot is about to happen.
Right.
But in the match part, the ones that really
shined was Shayna. Right. And Shayna and Sasha. Now, after the match, Sasha can't move. Her knee is shot. She pushes everybody away. Her best friend comes to carry her out of the ring, and her best friend begins to pummel her
out of
nowhere to the point where she not only brutalizes the leg, but does the spot where she puts the chair over the head and almost
jumps her off the second rope or something onto it.
Now, she doesn't actually touch the chair because, thank God, because Sasha doesn't have the build to. A lot of times when they do that spot, the back of that chair is around a hulking shoulders and neck, so it's not going to really move.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that spot with Sasha.
No, it snaps shut.
Right. So yeah, right. But now, this is when we talk about storytelling in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Bayley knows Sasha can no longer challenge for the tag team titles because they've lost them twice in a row now.
Mm-hmm.
Bayley knows the most formidable opponent she could have is Sasha.
Mm-hmm. That's originally the reason they went for the tag team belts in the first place. Was Bayley was cutting it off at the pass. It was even back then. That's the story they told. Was like, if we got the tag team belts, you're not going to come after my belt.
Right.
And that's why I tried to get you the Raw belt.
Right.
Because you won't come after my. Now there's no other people protecting me from you.
And we have to take a kid who's always been at her best as a heel and make her a babyface. And so what we do is we put her in the ring and we let her showcase how spectacular of a pro wrestler she is against Nia Jax.
Uh-huh.
Then we turn around and we watch her get bludgeoned.
And work the injury.
Oh,
yeah.
Sold it like a champ.
Stone Cold, Bret Hart, that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get over by being injured and get through it.
Absolutely. And then we have the heel turn. So she goes from the person we hated most or second most in this division for months, maybe years, to a babyface in 20 minutes.
And give Bayley a lot of credit there. She was spectacular.
Bayley, who a year and a half ago this time was the biggest babyface in the history of this company.
Yes.
She hugged everybody. She had a blowing car salesman.
Yeah.
What do you call those stupid doll things?
I think car salesman. Yeah.
Anyway, it was amazing what they managed to do in this time period in this match, and that
was classic storytelling of wrestling right there.
It is what pro wrestling is supposed to be.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, Vince, that we called it pro wrestling, but
it wasn't 16. It wasn't too busy. It wasn't too much. It was perfectly done. Perfectly done.
Yes. Okay. Speaking of perfect, Sami Zayn comes out next.
Speaking of perfect,
he's big mad. He wants everybody to call him Intercontinental
That's the angriest Canadian I've ever seen.
Oh, he's so mad all the time. And he winds up, Jeff Hardy interrupts, and Jeff says, look, man, if you didn't have to jump me. If you wanted a shot at my title, you could have a shot at my title. And Sami says, a shot at your title?
Yeah.
I never lost this title.
Yeah.
You want a shot at the title. You have to ask me.
Uh-huh.
I'm the champ. Nobody ever beat me.
No.
AJ comes out and says he's uncrowned because if you remember, Jeff Hardy cheated blatantly by hitting him with that knee thing.
Yeah, he did.
Then AJ jumps Jeff. AJ, as Sami decides to help AJ with Jeff, AJ kicks Sami in the head. That turns into Jeff hitting the twist of fate on AJ, which turns into Sami with the push to the corner and the helluva kick, which I have missed the helluva kick.
It's a great move.
I just like being able to say hell of a kick cool.
Yeah.
And it was great. Sami grabs his mic and runs out. If you remember Welcome Back Kotter, he runs away like an evil Mr. Kotter.
Yes.
Running away from it.
Yes. Welcome back.
Sidebar. When I was in elementary school, my desire to be liked by people was so great that I would tell... Welcome Back Kotter was on, we only had 3 channels.
Yes.
So the rerun was on in the afternoons every day. Rerun being a funny term because also What's Happening was on every day in the afternoon. Yeah. One of their great characters was Rerun. But
popping and locking.
But what a great dancer.
Yes.
Okay, dude. Sometime Google Rerun Welcome Back, YouTube, YouTube search Rerun dancing.
Welcome. What's happening?
What's happening? And I hope that pops up because that guy was amazing. Okay,
popping and locking.
But I would, Kotter would tell a joke every episode, and I would just get on the bus and tell the people next to me the same exact joke just to try to get over.
Yeah,
and it worked.
It worked.
I got over. Everybody loved me in elementary school.
Of course they did, Kevin.
Yes, as far as I knew.
Yeah,
that was so cool. As far as I knew. Okay, Roman. Calm, cool, calculating as Jay walks in and thanks him because Jey Uso is the new entrance. To which Roman replies, A, Paul did that, not me. B, let's see if you can win.
Your brother definitely would.
Your brother would win. I win everything I do. Let's see if you can do something by yourself this time. Which was not only said so matter-of-factly, it didn't even really sound evil.
No.
It just sounded... It sounded like if you're the best player on the team and you're kind of a jerk, but you're more of a matter-of-fact guy.
I can bring it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounded like when Michael Jordan's going Utah, Game 6, Jordan gets in the elevator with Pippen and Kerr and Hodges and all them come in. I'm not 100% sure Hodges was one of them, but I think Kerr was for sure one of the people that walk into the same elevator. They're going down the elevator chute. No, they're not going down the elevator chute. They're going down the elevator, And Pip says, guys, we really need all of you guys to bring your A game. And there's a pause and quiet. And Jordan says, just bring A game. Because I got this.
I got this. I'm Michael Jordan.
And by the way, I'm going to push off Byron Russell, which was to this day, that was a foul on Michael Jordan. That shot should have never counted.
Should never counted, Kevin.
I hate Michael Jordan. Oh, my God. By the way, if you don't know anything about me, the only people in the world I hate are the absolute greatest at what they do.
Yes.
I have the great hate disease. All right, anyway, three-way brawl is set up to the ring. They all start brawling. It's crazy. We go to commercial. They haven't even started it yet. When we come back, the Firefly Funhouse has started, and Bray says there will be, don't worry, I know you're sad, but there will be a new person in the Funhouse next week. Mm-hmm. Cut to Alexa Bliss backstage talking to Nikki Cross.
Apologizing.
Rambling Rabbit in the background overseeing what's going on. If you notice, Bliss's hair is slowly morphing into a pink and white version of the Fiend's hair.
Yes, little dreadlocks are appearing.
They hug, but it was really weird, which is what we were going for. I'm 100% sure.
I love that Nikki's like the sane one now.
Yes. She feels so out of place being sane.
Yes.
Okay, then Jay, Riddle, and Sheamus come out and bang it. And it's fantastic, and it's a great match. And then the ending is so perfectly done because the two heels get beat up by Riddle.
Yeah.
And Jay has multiple big-time performances inside of this match, but winds up going over by doing the thing that tag team wrestling Usos have done really well for years, which is everything got crazy, and I was the last one standing.
That's my spot.
That's how these three-way dances, ladder matches turn out, and he's wrestled in a million of them. Riddle hits the go to sleep on one. He gets on Sheamus.
Sheamus hits the bro kick on Baron.
Right. Riddle hits the bro
to sleep on Sheamus. Then
the floating bro by Riddle onto Baron.
Yeah.
And when he rolls off, before he can crawl, almost immediately Jey Uso lands on top of him with the splash, 1, 2, 3, and we get the win. Mm-hmm. And it was amazingly done, and we have the perfect person to prove that Roman Reigns is a different character because he is going to bludgeon his cousin in 3 weeks. We have a kid who's never had a singles run, who's been in maybe the best tag team of his generation. Mm-hmm. I would say it's the best tag team of his generation because I feel like the New Day is 3 people. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't always...
Well, admittedly, they have an advantage of being twin brothers.
Correct.
So they're technically the same DNA.
And AEW didn't exist during this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that huge tag team division was
You could argue New Japan Pro Wrestling existed during that time.
I get that, and I would say that you could argue Motor City Machine Guns if you want. Mm-hmm. Red Dragon.
Red Dragon.
From over there if you want. That's fine. But I will put the Usos' resumes up against anybody's resume.
I think that's we're talking about an aesthetic choice, not so much as there's anybody demonstrably better than them. I agree with that.
To me, and dude, people hate this, but to me, they are a physical version of the Young Bucks.
Okay, I can see that. Except,
and there's not as much clowning, and there's not as much stuff. The Young Bucks, to me, though, are the masters of the 4 to 6 to 8 people match.
Yeah, and they're also the masters for me of combo move wrestling.
Right, I get that.
There's not a team out there better than them at the combo move wrestling. Right. But I agree with you though. Usos are a little bigger. They're athletic, super athletic.
Dude, I'm gonna shoot though. You know who's really the only ones I would put there with the Usos, and I think they're the same tag team? The Briscoes.
Ooh, I like that.
The Briscoes, to me, are the dirty version of the Usos.
Oh, yeah.
Even when the Usos came out and did the Uso Penitentiary thing, I thought to myself, they're totally stealing the Briscoes thing here. The Usos are more athletic. Not much.
Not much.
The Briscoes are crazy.
Yeah.
And they've had some matches. All those teams we named that weren't in WWE, they've had crazy matches.
Go watch Briscoes Young Bucks. Go watch Briscoes Motor City Machine Guns. Go watch Briscoes.
Briscoes and Gorillas of Destiny.
Gorillas of Destiny is going to be up there for me as far as like,
But the Usos are there.
Yeah.
And this kid's never had a solo run. And here we go. He's going to get 3 weeks as a main eventer, and then he's going to wrestle his cousin at Clash of Champions for the belt. Epic for him. And great storytelling. And the main thing is Roman bludgeons his cousin in front of us, proving he's evil, calculating. He put the guy in the match that he knew he could beat, that he also knew could probably pull it out.
If you're going to give Roman a faction, how cool would it be if they just went through money at Gorillas of Destiny and brought them in as...
Dude, you don't even have to do that, though. After he bludgeons his cuz, the Usos ain't that far from being heels anyway.
Yeah.
They've been funny for a week. All you got to do is have Jimmy come out when it's over, and I don't know how hurt Jimmy is, but Jimmy can bridge that gap and be like, look, man, we need to get back on top. I know you got problems with what Roman did to you and all that. You don't think it's cool? We done a lot of bad stuff too. Let's get with Roman and run this thing.
I can see that.
And it wouldn't even be hard storytelling.
No.
Because the Usos flip back and forth anyway. What a great week.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, all
Raw,
right.
I'm going to say this, though. SmackDown and Raw, it's not even close as far as the shows, though. There are some spots in Raw that I really, really like, but as far as show from bell to bell, start to finish, SmackDown is just so much more cohesive and feels...
SmackDown right now is the perfect Vince McMahon show.
Yes.
It's what Vince McMahon envisioned once he got old enough that bra and panties didn't matter to him, which was a month ago maybe.
Yeah.
This is it. This is exactly what he envisioned. I don't think he realized it either, because he envisioned Roman being this, and I don't think he could ever have foreseen a character like a Bray Wyatt. But when you say, I want to be able to tell stories that are wrestling and not wrestling, to me, the only thing, like Alexa Bliss going in with Bray, I love it. But Vince let Bray decide Alexa's path. Because you don't understand that. You know what I mean? Like, only Bray can tell Bray's story.
Yeah.
And evidently there is somebody backstage that can help him do that inside of the package of what they're doing outside of his character.
Yes.
But what you can't do is take a character in Bray's world. You know, you don't get to play with their character again until they leave Bray's world. Like, okay, Seth's a heel now because he wrestled Bray. Now he's back in the regular world. You can deal with that.
Yeah.
But when Seth's in Bray's orbit, Bray needs to tell that story.
Yes.
And if Alexa's in, which will be hard because if Alexa's in his orbit, Alexa gets into the women's division.
Yes.
That becomes hard, right? Because you but you can't do that. You gotta let Bray do that because Bray knows the characters.
Yes. Unless they go like using her kind of almost like Scarlet for Karrion Kross, like his harbinger. Like she comes out and she, you know, they move her almost to a managerial role with him.
Right. A managerial role that can also do a couple of physical things here.
Oh, dude.
Kind of like a Lita with Edge, but a Harley Quinn Joker, but a Lita with that type. You know, that would be really...
Yeah, I would love her to be in the women's division, too, and let her play that character out. But I don't know if they're...
Seems like a lot.
...brave enough to do it or put that much on her right now.
Right. Well, and there's other women there, too.
Yeah.
You know. Okay, but anyway, great week. Awesome. For Justin, for me, KP, hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Go Copyright 2020, go home.